in mission 16 you have to pick up 2 key items in order to progress through the mission, and you can pick them up in either order, and I'm fairly sure it makes no difference time-wise. However, I prefer to take the left route first, so stinger to the red door here, and then you want to go down here, or left, whichever you prefer, and that enigma can block you sometimes. Anyway, when attacking these wheels, activate Devil Trigger because it may save you a hit or two. Then after that, run up to this ball and then dive kick it down. Notice that I am holding the left stick like up left, and this should make the ball just ricochet like that, directly into the other one. Then stinger to get this key item. Then just stinger twice here, taunt, and wait for the second fallen to spawn, and then use a holy water. Then just start charging straight here like that. That's cool. Taunt, and then just Devil Trigger run here because it's easy to hit walls with the stinger here. Then deactivate it, stinger down this sloth, ride him to this door, and in the next room you can either stinger first or just run a bit and stinger, but don't stinger the bird because it will most likely divide. If you're afraid of getting hit by this enigma, you should just activate Devil Trigger. Then make sure that you just kill the birds before they divide. You can use Devil Trigger Explosion, but if you get lucky like I did here, you don't need it, and you can be like out of range for the DT, and then it would just be a waste. Then kill this enigma, taunt, stinger, slide, stinger, go here, and then activate Devil Trigger for this wheel. Then run with it to the ball and turn the DT off, and then just switch cancel the ball right like this. Once it breaks, go to this tablet to pick up this key item, and the camera can be pretty awkward here. Anyway, next you wanna start charging DT, taunt this rook, charge straight, and then you wanna jump cancel it. And then you wanna parry these lasers. You have to get full guard here, and the best way to do that is just using these lasers, neutral jump them. And then go here, wait until those two fall down, DT and straight. Then you can attack either of these rooks. And as you can see, they can just move randomly like that and can be off camera easily. If they're close, you can use DT, and jump cancelling you should try to aim for that spike, the lower spike they have, but even then it is very inconsistent. I find these the hardest chess piece to jump cancel. After that, exit the room. You only have a little bit of Devil Trigger here, so you should conserve it. Stinger this sloth, shoot him down, ride him, then stinger to this part here and use the key items. And then in the next room you just want to stinger once, because otherwise you're just gonna hit the walls, and I mean there's no reason to stinger anymore. Just jump up there. Then here the same thing, you can do a reverse stinger if you're feeling lucky, but activate Devil Trigger there and then do a stinger slide here. You have to be in the middle of those stairs. Swap to Beowulf, dive kick, and then enter this door. Stinger slide here, and now you want to dive kick through this crevice, and here you can either stinger slide, but I prefer to dive kick because you have to get that reverse stinger, otherwise it's gonna mess you up. Stinger slide right there, and then enter Lady. Lady is a very simple fight, and it involves a phase skip, and if you mess it up, then welcome to Time Lost City. It is very easy to do, there's no reason for you to mess it up ever. It's just that Lady can hookshot across the room, which will lose you time, and I don't know any way of preventing that. You just gotta hope for it. But when she does that, she literally just teleports pretty much across the room where she is. And if you don't get the phase skip, what happens is that she will start jumping on top of the bookshelves and throwing grenades randomly, and it's very difficult to damage her at all during that time, so that's why you must always get the phase skip. You don't need to be too concerned over not having much Devil Trigger when going in the fight, because parrying one bullet will give you one stock, but in case you miss them, then it's good to have at least 2 stocks when going in. Also, parrying the bullets barely gives you any Royal Guard. So the way you do this is taunt, then parry the bullets. After that, move a bit to the left, not too close to her because she will run away from you. Then just parry the bullets again, then DT run to her as she aims Kalina on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then one more hit you can do. Then repeat the process. Right here, she doesn't hook shot, DT run 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, release. then one more hit. Here she hook shots. She goes to the opposite side right here, do the same thing, can taunt, parry, and when she does the rockets again, just finish her off. Here I accidentally switch cancel a bit too early, because you want Rebellion for the next part, and you can finish her off with Rebellion, it just does a little bit less damage. Anyway, jump up here, get these orbs, and once you get the last jump, aim here for this ceiling, because you will bump your head into it and thus go down quicker. Mission 17 has 3 annoying rooms and a boss, and there's a set way to deal with them. First Stinger, and then Stinger slide with DT on the stairs. And then we get to the dreaded cube room, which can end a run pretty easily. This room at the top has a spot where you have to wall jump, and for some reason, sometimes you just don't get a wall jump there. There's another spot in this run that has that thing going on, and I don't know any way to prevent that other than not wall jumping there. First Stinger, then DT run on top of this, DT glide here, then wall jump. Now wall jump on top of this thing and then get on this thing that moves like an elevator. And once it's up twice, then you want to wall jump towards yourself. And make sure to be on the left side of it so you don't hit your head right there. Then wall jump again, wall jump and dive kick. And that's the spot where you might not get a wall jump. Then Stinger, DT run, just Stinger here. Then Stinger again, DT, deactivate, taunt, kill this, Dulan, this one, and then the last one that spawns. And next, you're gonna have to do a spike room, but before you go there, you can set up yourself to do a cutscene movement, and this is the way I do it. I charge straight, activate DT, then I walk a bit forward, and then I jump to the left and dive kick, and then I swap to Rebellion and spam it. This room will activate the spike cutscene if you go even just like a bit further than that, so you can't really Stinger to this lane, so you gotta opt for that. And you really want to do the cutscene movement, it gives you extra distance for free. Here you just want to gold release through the spikes if you can. And jump here, and the next room will have the Abyss for the first time. The Abyss have the most health out of the hells. They have a grounded and an aerial projectile, and an attack that is similar to a lost dash, except they can keep doing it over and over. And the worst thing they can do is submerge themselves in the ground and then teleport from elsewhere, and as soon as they submerge they have complete iframes, so you can't hurt them. The ideal way to deal with them is to group them up and then use a full Devil Trigger explosion. So once here, Stinger once, then shotgun this one to the wall and make sure it falls down so you can jump cancel it like this, and hold DT the whole time. Then Stinger this guy, here he submerges, so I have to wait until he comes down. I shotgun him down, then I ride him to the other two. Get off, and then get close to them, and make sure you have the full 8 stocks so you can explode and kill them all. And make sure they don't submerge. But even here, with a 6 stock explosion, it was just one more hit. Then go through this door, and then when attacking this orb ore, which is the last one, use Beowulf, just spam combo 1. You can use a bit of Devil Trigger to get a few extra orbs. 7 combos later, and then just Stinger like you did in mission 7. And next up is Doppelganger or Doppelganger. The way you do it is you have to open 5 blinds either clockwise or counterclockwise, and then just finish him off. First just move to the left here, then Stinger, and then wait until he runs at you. Then do a Helmbreaker on the blind and jump cancel him with Beowulf. He's weak to Beowulf, so it shouldn't take very long. That's the second one, and then third one. You just do the same thing every time. Optimally, the fastest strat would be to parry his initial attack and then do the same thing, but you would also build up Royal Guard, which you could use as a release right here. However, I think that's very risky, which is why I don't go for it. So first move to the left, because that's the closest blind to you that is not open. Stinger. Wait until he dashes 5 times, then Helmbreaker, and then just start dive kicking him. Stinger again, and here you might wanna not do the Stinger too far off, because you might target him instead of the blind. That's 2 down, 3. Also, the reason you have to do this like this is because otherwise he will just do some other attacks which you don't want to do because they just lose you time, all the while holding DT down. And as you can see, I have no release, so there's no reason to use it. Here comes the final one. Beat the process, DT, and jump cancel him. Practice the jump cancels because either you can easily whiff them or just hit them, but they won't do any damage because you basically cancel them before they actually get to do the damage. Then just go to the teleport and stinger to the end. Mission 18 is the Capcom classic where you're forced to fight previous bosses as well as one new. To clear the mission the fastest, you unfortunately have to fight the 3 of the hardest bosses. First, just stinger to the end of this section and then do a stinger slide right here. Then just jump up here and keep stingering. And as you get close to this mirror, activate Devil Trigger and run into it. Now you have to fight the chessboard, and the way you do this is you use a holy water to destroy those pawns, which also activates the king as well as the queen. And once you kill the king, all the other chess pieces die. Activate DT here, jump into the mirror, run a bit, stinger to this pawn, use a holy water, then get in front of the king and do either 2 or 3 hits, then parry his explosion, release, and then a total of 6 hits you need to do here. Then taunt, and that's it. Next up, enter the mirror and stinger 3 times. After that you have to do reverse stingers. You can also use Devil Trigger here a bit, but don't use it too much because you're going to be needing it a lot. And jump into this mirror. Then here just go and swap Beowulf into Agni Rudra. Optionally you can swap shotgun for Kalina on because that is good for A&R, but it's still slower than the shotgun. I'm just joking. Now on to Cerberus, the first boss. And here you just wanna shotgun the eyes off. Use ebony and ivory for that head if you can't hit it with a shotgun. Then just keep aerial crossing its heads. You wanna hit as many heads as possible with an attack. It should take you 4 to 6 hits to down him. Then DT and keep doing the same thing. You really wanna hit multiple heads at a time. When he does the million carats, try to parry it in the air like that. And here is a good example of what may go wrong here. He does the icicle fall, and even as I kill him, he gets to do one more and hits me. After that, you want to position yourself like this so that you're instantly on the teleport there. And this is a better fight. A shotgun off the ice. He doesn't move around much. He doesn't do any bad attacks really, and it takes me 4 aerial crosses. And even though I only had a 3 stock DT, my aerial crosses are very good, so he's gonna die really quickly. Like right as he does million carats, I try to parry, don't get it, but I kill him anyway right there. And just stand right about here in the middle, and just like that. Next up is Agni Rudra. The fight should take about 20 seconds at best. At worst, anything close to a minute. Anyway, the first thing you do is just shoot them with ebony and ivory, then parry Agni, and then release on both of them when Rudra attacks. Then you wanna shotgun Agni's weapon away. However, here in my PB, for some reason both of them attack me, so I just end up releasing both of them and knocking off their weapons. Then DT, and then just keep doing the same old. But you want to make sure that they both keep, they're both down on the ground so that they won't start running or anything. Here I get another DT off, and that was alright. Next up, this goes a bit south because of this weird targeting thing happening here. Also make sure not to shotgun either of them 4 times because that will stagger them. Right here you see the lock-on somehow changes to Rudra when Agni gets up. I have no idea what caused that. Anyway, next up is Rudra once you've attacked Agni. Of course, if they keep attacking you like this, you just knock off their weapons. It's better than just, having the other one attack you in the back. Just like that. And now they get to run away, unfortunately. So you just repeat what you just did. Parry and release. And you want to make sure you don't kill one before the other if they have a big HP difference, because they can still combine in this fight. Then one more fight. Same thing. Then you knock off Agni's weapon, and then you switch cancel him about 12 times. Then you bait Rudra to attack you. Knock off his weapon, shotgun cancel, and then again bait Agni and knock off his weapon. Then when they're close to dying, you should DT. This was a bit too early, but for some reason they don't end up running away, and I get to finish the fight anyway. So just like this. Well, actually they do end up running away. However, I go after them because they're at such low health. Otherwise it would be a waste. This is probably the best fight I've had. Parry, release, bait, Agni. I actually do one too many shotgun attacks here, so he gets staggered. But I just normally switch cancel, bait Rudra to attack me, then I accidentally get a gold release right here when Agni attacks me. I don't want that. As you can see, it takes me far away. However, it ended up working out, and I get to DT on both of them like that. Then you want to stand here where there's these tiles. Put your left foot on one of those tiles. Only Beowulf remains, and the fight is basically the same as the first one, except the choke factor is much larger here because you're further into the run and you have to do the same hard jump cancels and release. So you stinger to him, parry, hope you don't get hit, and attack his eye, parry again. You want to make sure you have the level 2 Royal Guard here, as in the first fight, and just jump cancel him. It's real nice jump cancels, and then release. And that's a one cycle.
Why couldn't the fucking first fight go like that? Fuck you.
Then move up right about here in the middle to get to the teleport instantly. Then just skip the cutscene and run into the teleport. This one is so shit. Spoken like a true champ. Pretty much every time I've PB'd, I've said something like that in the VOD. Anyway, in mission 19, first swap Agni Rudra back to Beowulf, and then buy 5 holy waters, and if you can, buy a devil star, but it's not necessary. This mission consists of basically 3 rooms with abyss fights, and in the first room you got 2 waves. First there's 3 and then there's 2, and what you want to do is just either parry them when they attack you, or just shotgun them to make them do the dash attack, and then parry it. Keep parrying it. If there's a projectile coming at you, you can just block if you're afraid to parry that, and then the dash attack right after. And once you have full devil trigger, explode, and make sure you don't explode if any of them are invincible during the submerging stage. Also, this Royal Guard that you get, you don't need full, but you need at least 2 stocks. So level 2 Royal Guard, release on this mirror, and you have to destroy 2 mirrors in this room. Then for the second, just DT. Then this mirror the entrance will always spawn opposite of the golden statue. And then in this room, do the same thing. You want to bait them to attack you like alongside the stage. If it's like, you know, it has to be perpendicular. Otherwise, they will just bounce against the wall, and they might attack you like this, but they will whiff. See, this is a waste of time. So you just want to make sure that they are perpendicular when you shotgun them. And once you shotgun them, and if they block, you just jump cancel them with Beowulf. That will break their guard. And the same thing in here. You actually want full guard, and there should be no problem in getting that by parrying them. You don't need full devil trigger, but you should get some. But if you have the devil star, you don't need full, or you don't need any, because you can just use it for Arkham. Or if you have devil trigger and you have a devil star, then just use the devil trigger to run here. Then place the Samsara here that you picked up in the 3rd room, and stinger to Arkham. Now I'm gonna go through the mission once more. So first, don't forget to swap back to Beowulf and buy the 5 holy waters. There's this thing about the 1st and the 3rd room, where once you enter, there may be a little lag spike, and that will mean that one of the abyss will always submerge themselves. And if it doesn't happen, they can still do it, but usually it doesn't. But if it happens, they will always do that. It's just a minor thing, but just be aware of it. And here, as you can see, I built up the full devil trigger explosion and parried those guys. And then I used the high time to lift them up so that they would go on the ground, but they will not be able to tech it like with shotgun or stinger, so that at least one of them won't be able to go underground. And if I'm attacking one more and then one more is trying to attack me, then that's a good position to be in, so I can DT. just don't want to waste it. Taunt when necessary, and then in the second room there's this thing about this where these mirrors are basically on a global timer, so they keep swapping places, but I'm not sure if it's random or if it's a set pattern. And for the first mirror you just want to do the release. It might whiff a few times and it might you might have to go after it. And during that cutscene that you skip quickly, you may be able to see the mirror, and if you see it, you basically know that it's behind the mirror where you come from. As for the second mirror, either a 3-stock explosion or 2-stock and a couple of hits with Beowulf. Then taunt and jump into the mirror. It will always be opposite of that golden statue. In this room you have to kill the abyss within a time limit, but there's no way you won't be able to do that on normal difficulty or pretty much any difficulty below DMD. So as you can see here, I'm lifting them up, parrying them, and full DT kills them. Here this guy is blocking, so I go and jump cancel, and then I just shotgun him like this, horizontally in line with the stage. Keep parrying, get Royal Guard, and don't use this guard because you want it, because basically you need the level 3 Royal Guard and just a little bit of Devil Trigger, or a lot of Devil Trigger and like no guard, but it's better to do it this way. Then just get the Samsara there, and if you have Devil Trigger here, just use it and run. That is, if you have the Devil Star as well, but if you don't, then you can use a bit of it if you want. As you can see, I got two and a half base stocks, so normally this would make anyone panic, but this is not an issue. So first, use 2 Holy Waters. Just open the menu quickly, use it, just like this. Then start charging DT, run a bit forward, taunt, to start charging straight, and once he's down like this, DT, release the straight, use the release, and then spam Beowulf, and that's it. As you could see, there was no problem even with that little Devil Trigger. Despite Arkham being probably the biggest hitbox in the game, the Beowulf can still miss him point blank range, but the release will not. So that's why the release will cover any of those whiffs. Next up, there will be a prompt about Virgil, but sometimes you can skip this, and I don't know what causes it. Anyway, just use your remaining Holy Waters, and then GG. Even though you're in the home stretch now, you still can't rest easy, because you can still mess up your whole run at the very end. The final fight with Virgil is very simple, but it's also easy to mess up, because you need to do a phase skip. The usual fight should go something like this. You parry his attacks, DT, and jump cancel him with Beowulf. Once he breaks out of the combo, you parry him again, jump cancel him, but this time you don't really need to use DT because you want to amass it for the phase skip. Then you want to parry like as many hits as you can whilst building up DT. You don't have to get full level 3 Royal Guard, but it's advised. First off, let's look at his moves, because it's very likely that you'll mess up the phase skip. So, first of all, he has the 2-hit Yamato scabbard hits into force edge hits. He has the upper and down slash. He has 2 or 3 Yamato hits teleport into Helmbreaker into Stinger. And basically, after pretty much all of these, he can auto parry. And the timing differs a bit. And they go quite far, especially the Stinger and the upper slashes. I feel like they go further in Devil Trigger. And basically you can just bait him to do this and just run away, but the Stinger you won't be able to run away. Then he has the round trip, where he swings his force edge and it spins like that. It either tracks you the whole time or it just goes past you and then comes back akin to a boomerang. He has the same thing where he blocks bullets, and he likes to teleport around a bit. Also, he can go Devil Trigger seemingly at a random time. I am not sure what causes him to go Devil Trigger, because it's a bad thing if he goes Devil Trigger, but usually he doesn't. Here I parry the Yamato force edge combo, which is very difficult to parry because of the Yamato hits. Also, make sure not to choose continue if you die here, because then you won't have full devil trigger. Just choose to restart the mission. And his combos basically don't combo you all the way, except when he's in devil trigger, and then the Yamato hits into Helmbreaker, and Stinger is especially deadly, so you should always activate your own devil trigger. And obviously if you are charging DT, then just open the menu, let go of your devil trigger button and go back, and you can just use it regularly. And here you can see how to bait attacks out of him and avoid them, but as you can see, he will very likely auto parry if you don't strike him at like pretty much as soon as possible, but even then he can still do it, and it kind of depends what you do. A Stinger will almost always make him auto parry. And once he's away from you, he can either do judgment cuts, either 1, 3 or 5 hits, or the round trip, or he can just teleport to you. If he judgment cuts, then run a bit and Stinger to him, and if the round trip comes out, you can hit it back with just 1 rebellion hit. You can also try parrying it, but I suggest you do it next to the walls, because for some reason the parrying timing becomes easier there. If he goes devil trigger, you can just spam Stinger and Helmbreaker in your own devil trigger to knock him out of it quickly. The duration in which he stays in devil trigger can also be extremely long. Once you knock him down to either 40 or 39%, around there, he will create the devil trigger barrier, go devil trigger, and he will just do a couple of hits, and then he'll start doing the instant Helmbreakers. You can just run away from him doing this, even without devil trigger. And once he's done, he will be vulnerable for a very long time. Even if you counter his DT with your own, you can still get bodied, because you still take a lot of damage and you will get comboed all the same. And as you can see, you know, the devil trigger will just not be an instant win here. Here you see his proneness to auto parrying everything. And whenever you parry him, if you know the timings, you can just parry normally, but if you're like me and don't, then I suggest air guarding, because roll guarding will make the attacks whiff more. Also, when you jump cancel him, it doesn't really matter how fast you do it, because there's a certain amount of knockback he will take before he gets knocked out of the combo. You just have to make sure you don't just let him be free. Also here, after he tries to auto parry you like this, you can get free charged up straights in. I don't know how many exactly, but if you want some extra damage easily, you can do that. And right here, panic devil trigger, and as you can see, it's very erratic when he gets into devil trigger and when he gets out of it. So if you hit him accidentally when he's around the 40% mark, he will go devil trigger and start doing the Helmbreakers. You can just run away from them like this, except when he does the Stinger, you have to at least jump. And I'm not sure exactly at what point he does this, but he can do a judgment cut storm, where he just becomes completely invincible and the screen gets filled with judgment cuts thing that can combo you. Your best bet is to activate devil trigger, run a bit, and then jump and parry. If you get hit, you can just stay on the ground without taking the hit. That way you won't get hit again, so that's probably the safest option. You can also do it repeatedly like this, and once you have low health, no devil trigger, this is what will happen if you don't know how to parry it. As you can see, doing roll guards will probably make the attacks whiff. You basically have to do them quite late, and even if you do them, you might sometimes just get a jump, and then the camera angle changes, and then you're like, what just happened? And then you get hit. So that's why I don't recommend it. And if he goes devil trigger, or if you just want to parry without taking a big risk, you can just go devil trigger whilst trying to parry, because you will get devil trigger back pretty quickly during the fight. Also, you can make the round trip completely whiff like this. Another thing you can do when he goes devil trigger with the barrier is just neutral jump and parry his Helmbreakers. But even then, he can change the altitude of them and then just do grounded hits instead. Make note that if you jump cancel him on the sides, the plane won't be stable, as you can see, so you have to adjust your jump cancelling a bit. So, you run up to him, make sure you have Beowulf equipped, try to parry him. Hit him once on the ground, jump and DT and jump cancel. Once he breaks out of this, and by the way, you can jump cancel less with DT, obviously, because you do more knockback with it than without it. Repeat the process, make sure you don't take him below the 40% mark. Here I'm a bit careful. Parry, I get only 2.5 stocks, but that's enough, because I'll jump cancel and release. So, that was that. I thank you for watching. The description of every video in this series will have links to my notes, my save files with which you can practice, the style switcher 2.4.3, the damage table, the leaderboards and the Discord.
Well, bring it on. I love this. This is what I live for. I'm absolutely crazy about it!